morning, everyone, and welcome to this short session where I'm going to tell you my journey from data to information and the insightful things I've learned. But let's start properly and introduce myself. Well, I'm Elvira van der Ven. I'm married to this lovely guy. Together we have two wonderful boys, well, still boys. I was born in Soviet Russia, in a beautiful city of Tashkent, which is really worth a visit someday. Currently, I am working and living in Rotterdam, University of Applied Sciences, where I teach Java and machine learning to first-year and third-year students, and I organize a lot of crazy activities like Introduction Week for the first-year students. I organize as well guest lecturers for the older year students. I have some hobbies. I like to snowboard. I love to puzzle. I love delicious food and good beer. Luckily, my husband loves to cook delicious food. But is this all important? Are you hearing things for which you are here? So let's start over again. What is important? I'm Elvira van der Ven. I'm working at Rotterdam University of Applied Sciences, and I am a student counselor for the computer science program, which I even forget to mention. Besides, some info might be helpful to know more about, is the fact that I care about my students, obviously. I am familiar with struggles during my study because of my background, and the fact that I love to puzzle might help sometimes. Because from all the things I've just told you, I told you a lot of data, but only a few things are really informational. Only a small portion is information. As a student counselor, I encounter a problem, so-called langstudeerders, meaning students who are overdue their study. That can happen because of personal issues, because of things in the world like COVID, or just another things. That means personal curricula can change, but we have some courses which become outdated, deprecated, just get a little bit updated, and every change of a course means changing of a curriculum. So at some points we get a lot of different, sometimes even personal curricula, and a lot of different courses. And the student who is overdue, they get just a little bit lost. There are so many possibilities. And not even students, even the colleagues get lost because, well, one student needs some personal attention, then another. But that doesn't work. We have just a limited amount of time. So my goal is to help my students, to help my colleagues, but actually my main goal is to prevent this chaos from happening. Well, how can I do that? We have a system called Osiris, and it has a lot of data. Well, actually, I know everything about my student. I know their name, obviously, I know their address, when they're born, but I know their previous education, the place, the level, the grades they've got. I know when they started at our program, which curriculum they've got. I know which courses did they followed, which courses did they fail, with which grades did they failed or completed it. And actually, I even know every date of every grade, so I can make a timeline of passing or failing courses. So I have too many information, so many that I can't even see clear. And a few years ago, I've heard about Neo4j, which just helps to organize, to visualize your data, to see what do you have. Well, after just investigating and putting all my data in the next scheme, I found out I have a student have a curriculum, and every curriculum contains some courses. And the student can have a relationship with the course which is completed. If a student didn't try it or didn't follow the course yet, or he failed it, he doesn't have a relationship yet. Once a student completes all the courses, he gets a status graduated. In the meantime, it's busy or sometimes they are dropped out. Well, I already knew I have 294 students in our second, third, fourth, and so-called 5x overdue students. So not the first year. But that was the biggest discovery I made. We have 41 different curricula. Just let's think. Instead of 3, I have 41 different curricula, which holds 158 slightly different courses. That's a lot of overhead, that's a lot of work. And even more interesting is the fact that from those 41 different curricula, here they are, only 7 of them are connected to our current not overdue students. 49 of them are connected to our second-year students. 53 are for our third-year students. And there it begins. The rest, 5, those curricula, are for our fourth-year students. They are not even delayed during their study, but they had some personal issues, some shifts, some things, adjustments, and I already have 5 different curricula in the fourth year. But that means that the rest, 34 of them, are connected to 141 overdue students. Every student has their own different problems, their own different courses, so you can imagine that we need an overview of this all. Well, after loading all the data into Neo4j, I could use Neo4j Bloom to visualize the data. For example, here I have a student, is purple, and you can see his curriculum, which is orange, and you can see the relationship between his courses. Some of them are completed, they are here, and some of them are not completed yet, so he isn't graduated yet. That makes it much easier to see when just student pops in and says, "Hi, I really need my diploma this year, help." I can make an overview, I know which courses he has still open, and which are deprecated, so which is the new course to finish. But another thing I can do, and that's much more helpful, is I can get a bunch of curricula and a bunch of students, and I can overview who else has to complete which courses, and where do I need to put my energy and my efforts on. As you can see, the orange are still the curriculum, purple are still the students, and yellow are still the courses. And some courses need to be followed just by 1 or 2 students. But some courses are pretty popular, like somewhere there and there, instead of those courses. So when student pops in and says, "Hi, I need to complete this course," I can see, is it a popular course? Do I need to gather more students? Do I need to organize some extra classes? Or can I just put all my effort on this one, and after that the course is done? I made this overview by using Neo4j. The next query, I collect for all the students who has a curriculum, the curriculum contain courses, and then I collect all courses in a collection. From there I get a collection of all completed courses. From there I get a collection of all incompleted courses, and I return it to visualize the students, curriculum, incomplete course, and the relationship between those 3. Well, that's pretty helpful to visualize, not only for me, for my colleagues, but also to our manager to see where do she has to put extra money or extra manpower to. But it's not that easy to count every course. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, I need to 20 students. That's why I made this query. Actually, I do exactly the same thing, but now instead of returning the visualization, I just return the incompleted courses, and I count the number of relationships. Why would I count myself if I can a computer count for me? And I order it by decreasing it. And then I get the next table, which shows me which course needs to be done by how many students. And as you can see, the most popular course in this selection is is the graduation project, which is pretty heavy. It's 13 points worth, and there are, in this selection, 21 students who has to complete it. Unfortunately, I can't help them with that because that's a thing they need to do by themselves. As the next one, the mentorship program of the third year, they get those grades once they finished all the third year's courses. But for example, I can help them with functional programming. There are, in this selection, 10 students who has to finish functional programming. There are 11 students who has to finish the second course, functional programming. So I can just mail those students. Next semester, we are starting with an extra course. Come by and join us. And I can just mail my colleague. Those are the names who needs to get grades for it. Because of the time constraints, I have to wrap it up a little bit. Conclusions so far, my goals were help my students, help my colleagues to get an overview. Well, I can sure can do that. But my main goal was to prevent this chaos, this blown up thing from happening. Unfortunately, I am not there yet. I need much more time. I need a little bit more data to analyze things. And my analysis depends on my perspective. What do I want to know? And different perspectives have, of course, different approach. One of the things I could analyze is the correlation between the success rate and the curriculum which they've got. Maybe the previous curriculums were harder or easier to follow, and the overdue students, the chance to get overdue students was bigger or smaller. To do that, I need to import much more data from previous years, including the graduated students or dropped out students, well, actually everything. But that's one of the things I'm going to do. Another possible correlation is the dropout rate and the previous education. But because most dropout students drops out in the first year of their study and not in the fourth, fifth, sixth, I am not going to do that because that's not my focus at the moment. Another correlation is the student's background. If a student is a foreigner student, he's alone here, he has some heavy financial, mental duties, well, it can affect his or her study. If we know that, we can help them to prevent it. So if there is a big correlation, we can put our time on it. And the last correlation I want to look at is the correlation between the number of incompleted courses a student have and the overall time delay he could get. Because that's not that straightforward. When you miss just one course of 2 points, you don't get the whole 10 weeks delay. But if you miss 3 courses of 15 points, you get much more time delay. And another thing, some courses are given just once a year, some courses are given 4 times a year. So you have to plan things wisely. To do that, I will continue to analyze, and I will use LLM. As said in the previous talk, Olama is on the list. And I was thinking to try generative AI, the RAG model, to see what can I find from it. And for now, thank you all for your attention. I hope you enjoyed my talk, and please rate my session.